Shockwaves VideoCast, presented by
Bob Nalbandian,
host of the Shockwaves / Hard Radio podcast on hardradio.com and the Shockwaves Skull Sessions podcast on roadrunnerrecords.com /Skull Sessions.
We're here with the legendary Mr. Biff Byford from Saxon. How are you, Biff?
Good, I'm doing good.
All right.
It's good to be back in America.
Absolutely. Last time was what? 96, 97, right? Was it the Increase the Beast tour?
Yeah, we've been to America. We've done New York and a few shows in Texas, but we've not been to the West Coast for quite a long time.
That's right. In Texas, San Antonio, you guys have quite a huge following still.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
All right.
We haven't been here for, I think, 15 years.
Yeah, I was at that last show at the Whiskey, and I was at your show in 1982, your first show here at the Whiskey with a Metallica opening. I think
That's
you did
right.
2 nights, one Rat opened and the other Metallica.
Yeah. Legendary gig, that one.
Absolutely brilliant. Awesome. So the new album, Call to Arms, just came out. Now, is that out on EMI worldwide?
Yeah, most of the countries around the world it is, yeah.
All right.
They're doing a great job in Europe on the album. It's charted everywhere, so it's picking up momentum now in the States. People are getting a bit psyched about it.
Fantastic album. It brings you back to the old school, very much in the denim and leather vibe.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a spirit of the 80s on there, which is what we wanted. We thought we took that sound we had on the last 2 or 3 albums. It's fantastic, but we just wanted to take it to pieces again and start again and make it a bit more, a bit raw sounding.
Right.
A bit more like less is more type thing.
Absolutely. Do you self-produce this one?
No, a friend of mine co-produced it with me, Toby Jepson.
Oh, right on.
It was the singer with Little Angels.
I remember that.
Yeah, he was good. We worked well together, yeah.
You worked with a lot of producers in the past. I know.
Yeah.
In the back, Will Rick Deed and Will Dick Reed.
No, Will Reed Dick.
Will Reed Dick. That was it. And of course, what was it? Jeff Glicksman did Power and the Glory. Right?
Yeah.
And quite a few. How do you feel about working with? I know you worked with a lot of name producers in the past, and going back to doing some of the latter albums you self-produced as well.
Crusader was made in Los Angeles. That's the second American album. But yeah, we worked with people. I mean, the thing is, we in the sort of late 80s, 90s, some of the producers sort of watered us down a little bit. We weren't really happy with that, and neither were our fans. So after that, I sort of took control again of it, and I've either been executive producer or a co-producer on a lot of the albums, because I think, you can take it in different ways, because we walk the line, don't we, of heavy metal and hard rock.
Sure.
That's what Saxon do,
Right.
And it's very easy for somebody to take us through the way, so we just took control of our sort of musical direction again, and it's worked really well since then.
All right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Saxon really truly were the leaders of what they call the new wave of British heavy metal. The first album out in 1979, the self-titled album. I remember when Wheels of Steel, that was actually released in America. There were only very few bands from England at the time that had American releases. That I got before Iron Maiden. I must have been 15, 16.
Yeah.
Picked up Wheels of Steel. I had read like a little blurb about you in one of the American magazines, and I put it on, listened to Motorcycle Man, and just flipped out. I mean, that was like the heaviest song at that point.
The first album's a bit more prog rocky.
I've noticed that, yeah.
It's a mixture between metal and prog rock. Wheels of Steel was obviously a big album in Europe.
Absolutely.
The story in America was, because we were on a French label. And,
Carrera?
Carrera Records. Right? And it was distributed through...
CBS, wasn't it?
No, I think it was WA, Warner's.
I think in the States it was CBS, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not, but I went to Rockefeller Plaza to the office, so
right.
I think it was one of the two, United Artists or Warner's. Anyway, they only actually printed 25,000 copies in America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And for some reason they got upset by the French, and that was what the minimum amount they had to print on the contract was 25,000.
Wow.
So that's what they printed. That's why Strong Arm the Law came out sort of a bit skew-whiffy.
Yeah.
Because they redid the contract and Strong Arm the Law sold much more than Wheels of Steel. That's the story in America. I think, it held us back in America, that.
Yeah. Well, that was
25,000 sold out like that.
Strong Arm actually came out. Did you release them both in the same year in England?
That's right. Yeah.
And I know a little bit later it came out in America.
That's right.
Yeah. But when Wheels of Steel first came out in America, that was really the first. I mean, that was before Iron Maiden. Of course, you had Motorhead back then, but it was all on import until Ace of Spades came out.
Yeah.
So Wheels of Steel and actually Def Leppard on Through the Night, I think, were what introduced me at least to the new wave of British heavy metal. And
yeah, you're right.
That was just.
Yeah. I mean, we were one of the first American signings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, we were the first ones into America.
Now,
but unfortunately, that it didn't work out with the distribution.
Yeah, but definitely, when you came over on the Denim and Leather tour, I remember in the audience, the guys from Motley Crue, everyone wanted to check out.
That's right.
The new wave of British heavy metal leaders, Saxon.
Right,
it was that must have been pretty amazing. Huh?
Yeah, it was an amazing time. It really was an amazing time.
And having Metallica open for you, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we were. It was a fantastic period that, because we just flew in. We did these 4 shows, one underage show, one for the older fans after, so we had 2 shows a day. And we had Ozzy Osbourne came to see us, with Sharon, and Motley Crue burst in the dressing room, and we didn't know half all these people were really,
Right.
And Metallica were down there supporting, and it was just a crazy world really, and somebody whisked us off to some party in some house in Beverly Hills, some girl. But that's another story. But anyway, so it was a bit of a whirlwind, all happening all at once in the 80s.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, how was the transition? Because you mentioned that on the first album, it was very proggy, and that's how kind of in the late 70s that was a huge scene, was the prog scene with Genesis and Tull and Yes and all that kind of stuff. And then it really was a major turn when you did Wheels of Steel, particularly songs like Motorcycle Man. I mean, you went full-fledged heavy metal. What was that transition?
Well, if you listen to the first album, we sold quite a few copies now of the first album. A lot of people have got it. You'll get things like Stand to the Highway. Some of the real thrash
backs to the wall
thrash metal songs, yeah. And then you get the more, more moody, slower stuff. So we had some songs that me and Paul had from a band before, which were more jamming, prog rocky. And we had a couple of songs from the Sob band that
Son of a Bitch.
No, not Son of a Bitch, no, from Sob. Which is what Graham Oliver and Steve Dawson, that was their band.
I got you.
So when the band came together to form Son of a Bitch, we had quite a few different songs, and then we wrote some songs together, and those were the songs,
right?
That really started the sound that we had.
Right.
So the first album was a mixture of different songwriters.
Right.
Wheels of Steel is the first album we actually wrote together.
I got you.
So that's why that was different.
Very cool. And talking about you explain a lot of this in the movie, the DVD documentary coming out, Heavy Metal Thunder, the movie.
Sorry, Heavy Metal Thunder. I was just trying to
go
there for a bit. Yeah, Heavy Metal Thunder, the movie.
I was fortunate to see the movie at a screening, and I got to say, this was bar none the best rock and roll documentary I've seen, because it was so honest. It was such a honest fan-based piece, and you really went back into the history of the new wave of British heavy metal. And I tell you why, because a lot of people don't really know. I mean, I was fortunate when I was young. I remember that time, in '80 and all that, and it was such an amazing new scene to the heavy metal movement. And here in the States, a lot of people remember, bands like Saxon, a lot of the new wave of British heavy metal bands. You take a lot of them, Diamond Head, Tigers of Pantang, Raven, a lot of these bands that got American deals. It was something that you explained very well in the movie about how the record labels had so much control over the artists and the American labels. They were throwing producers, you would have songwriters telling you, do a cover of Christopher Cross or whatever, doing all the stuff. But I mean, it happened to all the bands. There was either you have to do this or you get dropped kind of thing. And a lot of people nowadays that see these bands, Diamond Head, Tigers, Saxon, they see the MTV videos, they're like, this isn't heavy. This isn't new. You know, what's you know, they don't get it. They don't get what it really was. Like, you know, as the lyrics back in '79, back in '80.
The three bands really, you know, were Maiden, Saxon, and Def Leppard were the bands that wrote the songs that went on to be anthemic. I think some of the other bands, you know, were great bands, but they never had that one or two really big monster songs that shot them into, you know. I mean, us and Maiden and Leopard had songs that were on a par with Leopard, with Purple. You know, they were on a par, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
The songs took on a denim and leather, took on a different, you know, persona. It was like an anthem for fans, really.
Right.
So, you know, it's just unfortunate, you know. I mean, I've talked to some of the bands about this, and for some reason they just didn't have that one song. They might have had a song,
right,
but it didn't go, you know.
Yeah.
Like sort of Running Free or Run to the Hills or that sort of thing. They just didn't have that that one song that moved, you know, 1 million people.
Right.